Hey everyone, today's video we are going to be looking at classes again. We're going to be extending our knowledge, and this time through the use of using virtual methods, overriding and overloading, and what that can do for us in our programming. And the idea of that with these ideas we can enhance the reusability, perhaps enhance the reusability of our code, and a bit of flexibility in doing so, and you'll get to see why as we go through the example and a real world example of where I would have used it. Unfortunately, the actual demo you can see here, you've probably seen a few other places, but at least in this form here on the video, you'll get an understanding of how to do it. So let's dig in, shall we? Oh, and by the way, I have added some slides into here as well. I thought it might make it a bit easier to understand. And if you'd like this format, please let me know. It'd be great to get your feedback here, and I can do it more often if you like it. If you don't, just say so as well, and I just skip it, but it'll just helps me a little bit as well. So the first thing we're going to look at here is virtual methods, and let's go here, and you'll see here that we've got an animal class, and the animal has a method called speak, and speak has been declared as virtual. And what that does is enable the idea of method resolution at runtime. So when I call the speak method, it sort of like works out what I'm doing, what I'm calling or whatever, and executes or calls that bit of code, which then gets executed. So by itself, having a unit or a class like this doesn't really do anything, for lack of a better word. By itself, it would be better off to not have it declared as virtual. But when we want to be able to incorporate classes which are derived from this, where we want to modify the behavior of the speak method, well, then it becomes let's say important here. So we'll just save those changes, but as I said, by itself it doesn't do very much. So when it does become important here is if you want to, like I said, modify the behavior, and you replace the base class method with another implementation in an inherited class. So whereas in the inherited class is declared as virtual, in a descendant class, in the class which inherits from the base class, we will use the override method. So we'll go to the example here, where it's probably an example you've seen a few places elsewhere, where the cat says meow and the dog says woof. So but here again you can see that the dog, you can see that we've got two methods here which both use the override, and you can and we've just got a right line example again where you can see the dog speaking, and which then leads us into the concept of that polymorphism, whereby at runtime then the program works out, well, what am I calling? Am I calling an animal or a cat or a dog? And that particular method gets executed. So you're probably wondering, why do I need to know something like this? Well, I'm going to give you a very quick example from the real world, where in my former life, I would have a former job. I would have, let's say, a function or a procedure, a method that would calculate the charge of a telephone call. Now up here, this would be, let's say, for lack of a better description, or using the correct images, shall we say, I've got a T-rate class which has a method called calculate charge. And what you would then do is you could have, let's say, two other classes here, where one is a fixed rate charge and the other is a timed charge. So what's the difference between those two? Basically, regardless of the length of the call here, the call charge is going to be the same, whereas over here you could have something like, a per minute rate, a per second rate, a flag fall, etc. And of course you would have other things coming out of here. Underneath, let's say, the fixed rate, you've got a couple of classes called a free call rate, which is going to be 0, and a local charge rate, a local rate class, which may have, let's say, which descends from fixed rate, and it would also have a calc charge method as well. And what would happen then is, you call, let's say, once you've determined the let's say the destination of a call, you could then go to and using that information, then go to a factory to return the appropriate rate to use. And we could just return a T local rate, which gets assigned to a T rate. And then when you say, this, let's call it this rate or M rate, mrate.calc charge, it would then use the appropriate calc charge function wherever, depending upon what was returned. So now that we've looked at those couple of parts, we may as well have a look at the demo program in action. So let's go to our projects folder again, and this is classes demo 2. And you can see here that in this first instance here, let me move that over there, and I'll move this over here. Actually, I hope you can see that code relatively easily. If not, I'll make it a bit larger. I've actually put in some key bindings too here, so I can make the code a little bit bigger for us. Unfortunately, hang on, let's go back one. Control plus. And let's go back over here. So here you can see that we just ask the animal to speak, and that's what you would see here. In the next example here, you can see that we are using the same animal, and this time we're getting a dog returned, and we ask the dog to speak, and then we doing the same thing, we ask the cat to speak, and you see the woof and the meow there. This part here we're about to come up to, so don't look at that just yet. Another important function to be able to, or a feature of classes I should say, is the ability to have overloading, and it allows you to have different methods with the same name, and again it gets resolved at runtime. It is not related to inheritance, I'll have to say, and what we're going to look at here is a little demo with the we've got a logger class here. The other thing you'll note about the demos we're using here, or the demos, I'm putting the individual parts in separate units here as well. So in order for the cat and dog unit to access the animal class, I have to add animal to the users clause. In the previous videos, I've basically chucked everything into the one unit, so it makes it easy for the compiler define things. But if I were to take that out, and then just try to build, I'm going to get an error here which basically tells me that it cannot find the animal class, or it cannot find, don't know what type it is. So now with the logger class, so what we've got here now are, we've got our class here and we've got two methods, and each method takes different parameters, and because I want to do that, I declare or use the overload keyword to basically tell the compiler, or to give the compiler clues as to what I'm doing. I want to have a function like this called, I want to log the values in an array, for instance. So I could just pass another log function, pass in the array, and I can do something with that as well. And now as far as the usage is concerned, then you can see here that I've got I create my logger class. I can then call, and you saw it building before, so I'll just build it again, and that was successful. No errors here obviously, and it knows here which implementation to call, based on the parameters, let's say the parameters used. In another world, you might have to do something like, without using the overload, name, you would have to do something like that. And if I wanted to log a floating point value, call that log3. If I wanted to do a date log for, etc., I would need to know what function to call. But in this way here, I can just call log, and that's one of the benefits then of using having overloaded have overloaded methods, where you could, in this example here, just add in other methods, for, let's say, debugging purposes, which will be a video we are going to be looking at, in the new year sometime. And that is about it for this particular video. I hope that you got something out of it, and don't forget to let me know if you do like the this particular style, where I can make the slides visible up on GitHub as well, and for you to look at or download and do what you'd like with. And there will be one other video I will be bringing out just before the new year, and in that one there I will be talking about what's going to be coming up. So until then, happy coding, and I'll see you later. Bye.